how are you?
Quite deeply affected, to be honest.
I read your one of your tweets. There's a few of them. They're pretty strong statements that you've made. One of them says it's not only Charlie, there's a list, they're coming for the rest of us. What do you mean by that?
We no longer live in any kind of civilized political discourse. The left and the right are not arguing about interest rates or economic policy. This is a complete different worldview. These people lack spirits and souls, and they believe that anybody who disagrees with them or says a word counter to their narrative deserves a bullet in the neck. This is no longer political discourse. This is a divide which is much larger than most divides, which caused endless wars across the planet. And Charlie Kirk was killed for being the good guy, for being the nice guy. He hasn't been nearly as inflammatory as I have with many subjects. And they believe we deserve death, and they celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk in a disgusting, inhumane manner. Let's not forget, because it's easy to forget, attempts. Not only did they try to kill Trump, but we forget it because they were unsuccessful. They tried to kill Nick Fuentes. We forget it because they were unsuccessful. Did you even know they tried to kill me? Type Andrew Tate knife attack. Last month, somebody put on a high-vis vest pretending to be a builder, trying to get access to my house with a blade. And when he was identified, started slashing randomly because he couldn't kill me. So I'm on a death list also. And the media is spinning and hyper-radicalizing low IQ people into attacking anybody who has a worldview that's different to theirs. The media is absolutely, completely complicit. And I would argue that very few people on the planet had larger voices for the masculine youth than Charlie Kirk. If you want to say some names which are possibly up there, it's myself and Nick, and we've already had attempts on our life. This is disgusting. And this is no longer a political divide. This is no longer about policy. This is about good and evil. This is about right and wrong. This is a war. This is almost an unfixable problem. When people are laughing and celebrating a father dying in front of his children because he disagreed with their worldview, especially when their worldview is wrong. Let's analyze as professionals. If you're going to sit and tell the world that men can be women because they put on a wig, and they believe you deserve a bullet in the neck the second you disagree with them, they are fighting objective reality. You can't agree or disagree with these people. Where is the political solution for people you cannot agree, disagree, conversate, or debate with? You tell me how we have a political solution to this. I'm on a forever kill list, as was Charlie, as is Nick, as is Trump, as is anyone who tries to enforce basic reality, as is Elon. Elon saved the world. He's trying to make humans multiplanetary, and people will laugh if he dies. Do you understand the spiritual sickness we're discussing here? This isn't politics. This isn't policy. This is a complete lack of souls. You know, people often attack me for toxic masculinity, and the masculine essence in and of itself always had respect for their adversaries. When you finish fighting, you shake hands. Even generals in old wars would show respect to their opponent after they killed them, or they would allow surrender. There's always been a degree of respect in combat amongst the masculine mindset, the masculine realm. But these new liberals, this hyper-feminized feminist, even the men are basically girls. Harry Sisson, Dean Withers, they're female. They have no respect for the sanctity of life. If somebody annoys them or disagrees with them once, they believe that person deserves to die and they celebrate it. That's not the masculine way. My worst enemy could die in front of his children. I would do nothing but support his family. I would send them money and make sure that his kids could eat. My worst enemies. We are living in the most disgusting period of human history. This is absolutely disgusting. And I don't see a political solution for these savages who are perfectly prepared to kill and celebrate over a few words. And the fact that I'm on a kill list doesn't bother me. It's not about me. It's about Charlie. The fact that he was the nice guy. So you can't be a nice guy to these people. They will kill you. What are we supposed to do here, Mario?
I'll read a tweet that he said assassination culture is spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk. 55% said the same about Donald Trump. In California, activists are naming ballot measures after Luigi Mangione. The left is being whipped into a violent frenzy. I worry about labeling this left versus right. And there's one of your tweets, I'm sure you were emotional when you posted it. You said just civil war. That's what you said.
I said I said civil war is coming. Because the only prerequisite to war, the only way to avoid war is a degree of negotiation or discourse, which is why I asked you the very well-constructed question just a second ago. How do we have discourse with people that we can't politely speak to and we can't disagree with, and we have to completely capitulate to their false worldview? Otherwise, we deserve a bullet in the neck. Explain to me how discourse can solve this. This is me genuinely asking you a question. I don't
know. Ben Shapiro canceled all his appearances.
So civil war is going to be the end result. I'm not calling for violence. What I'm making very clear is that there is no alternative if these people will not sit down and have a conversation. You know, America's in a very difficult predicament. I understand the free speech. I understand we want to live in a democracy and freedom. I understand these things. But if we're going to allow social media platforms to celebrate people's deaths the way that Charlie's death is currently being celebrated, the country is going to disappear within 5 years. So if I was president, normally I have all the answers. But now, for once, I'm stumped. What would I even do as president? Can I lock all these people up? Probably not. Can I round them all up? No. Am I just going to let them celebrate and laugh? Am I going to let every single person who says something controversial be threatened with death? Am I going to allow every single time Andrew Tate or Nick Fuentes or you or Elon or anyone makes a post that these people don't agree with, for them to start writing underneath that Charlie Kirk, LOL, coming next, and radicalizing more and more people to believe that we deserve to die? Let me ask you a question. I have daughters. I think that human traffickers should be killed. I'm sure you think the same. The media called me a human trafficker for 4 years, and I've never been convicted. There are people who believe I deserve to die. I've never been convicted of a crime, and I'm innocent. I didn't do anything. That's why this man came here with a knife to kill me. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? How can I have political discourse with these people? How can I explain to them this was a hit job on me and my reputation? How can I talk to them if they don't believe that a man who puts on a wig isn't actually truly a woman? How do I talk to somebody who doesn't believe in gravity? How do I talk to someone whose worldview is so warped and so corrupted? They don't understand the basic premises of Earth, the basic realities. They don't believe in the sun, the moon, the sky, the ground. How can I talk to these people? And when I try, no matter how articulate, in fact, this isn't about me. When Charlie was articulate, kind, interesting, witty, he was polite, he gave his time. When he tried his very best to explain to them how they were wrong and repeatedly decimated them in the world of logic, all they do instead of learning their lesson is call for his death and laugh when it happens. How do I find a political solution to this? It's a genuine question.
I don't know. Like I was speaking to Congressman Jim Jordan just a few days ago, as well as Ben Habib in the UK, which I know you're doing some political stuff in the UK, and they both said the US is the final front for free speech. It's the pinnacle of free speech. And then when you have people like Ben,
but this is the thing that's so dangerous, Mario. For there to be free speech, there can't be limits on the speech, but there must be within the population a basic understanding and parameters of objective reality. Everybody must understand gravity exists, right? There can't be free speech if everybody's saying, let's throw children off of buildings. Gravity's not real. Eventually, you're calling for murder. At a certain point, when objective reality has been decimated to the point where there are no parameters left, like this man-woman crap, or how killing children is somehow important to do, or that we shouldn't have borders and unlimited numbers of people should turn up and we don't know who they are, or we shouldn't arrest criminals and criminals shouldn't go to jail. When you have absolutely no parameters left, how can you have free speech without inciting for what exactly happened? At a certain point, free speech just becomes inciting for violence, and the violence comes because these people do not have respect for life. They don't have respect for a differing opinion. They don't have respect for anything. So we've lost control of a large percentage of the Western population who live in a fantasy land. And in their fantasy land, they think people deserve bullets in the neck unless you also drink the Kool-Aid. What is the political solution to this? There are people who I know when they get me, there's going to be large celebrations. And people are going to say, he said women can't park cars. He deserves to die and orphan all his children because of a joke. But they will make jokes about Charlie Kirk's death. And they don't care. And they don't see the hypocrisy in that. These people are soulless. The West has lost its soul. There is no honor left. Not even the basic masculine dignity of showing respect to a fallen enemy. Nothing. There is nothing left. I want you to speak to Elon. I want to get on the rocket and go to Mars. I am completely heartbroken. Not just because of Charlie. Not just because I know I'm next. I'm heartbroken for humanity. I'm ready to die. I've had a great life. I'm heartbroken for the Western world as we know it. And anyone with a brain should be.
I remember when we did a space not long after Trump's assassination, I think on the same day, and that was before that, and you said on the space, I will never kill myself. And Elon said something similar, and I think, I'm not sure who else, Alex Jones might have said something similar on that space. And, you know, afterwards we saw Trump's assassination attempt, and now we saw Charlie shot in the neck. It seems like we're just slowly walking into that world, and we keep moving on. People have moved on from the president almost killed just a few months ago. What do you think is going to happen now after Charlie Kirk's death? Are we just going to move on and live our life like we did after Trump's assassination attempt?
I hope not. However, I think we do need a solid plan. I mean, it's easy to descend into chaos and more senseless acts of violence, but we need a solid plan, which is why I asked the question I asked earlier. What do we do about these people? This is a genuine question. I'm not even insinuating the answer. I'm asking. What do we do about the people who believe that it's good that he died? What do we do about the people who believe Elon Musk should die? What do we do about the people who believe that I, because the media lied about me for years and I was never convicted, should be dead? What do we do about the people who believe Candace Owens should die? What do we do about the person who was laughing that Nick Fuentes almost died? Nobody even knows they tried to kill me a month ago. Nobody even cares. What do we do about these people who want us dead? How do you live in a country where half of the people you interact with or see or walk past want you dead? How do you do that? This is a genuine question. How do you exist amongst people who want you gone? What's the answer? I don't have the answer. I don't see a political solution to this.
What's the other solution then? I know you mentioned the risk of civil war.
We have to be very careful here, right? We have to be very careful here. And I like you, Mario. You're a good friend of mine. But, you know, journalists in and of themselves love to get the rage bait answers. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but that's what the left has certainly been doing for a very long time. I'm not calling for anybody to be dead. What I'm trying to say is that normally, with every single problem, I consider myself a man who knows all the solutions and knows all the answers. But after this, I'm sitting here thinking, what do we do? And I'll be honest, if I was in charge of America, the people who are laughing and dancing and celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, I believe, should end up feeling the force of the law. But how does that affect free speech? And how is that weaponized against us into the future? I don't know. And then you have to go down a deeper rabbit hole. You're currently in Dubai. Dubai is safe and Dubai is secure, it looks like, or the Middle East. You're in somewhere safe and secure. America is no longer safe and secure for anybody. It's not safe and secure anymore. So how do you restore this? How do you restore unity? How do you restore sanctimonium? How do you fix these things? Because America doesn't just have domestic enemies. It has international enemies. There's a reason everyone's running away from America and running away from Europe and running to Dubai. Because it's a place where you can exist without the threat of being killed. But Dubai doesn't have free speech. Does free speech just end in tyranny? I don't know. How does this end? I'm not sure. What I'm saying is that if it was up to me, if I was the president, I would say, okay, we're going to have free speech, but we need to have some basic parameters we all understand and respect. Free speech works if we have the same view of history, the same view of what a successful society is, the same view of what a family is, you need to have some basic parameters. You can't have people who disagree on absolutely every single facet of existence and then have these people walking around with guns and then have unchecked media pieces stirring up hate. How will that end in anything other than assassinations?
But then what's the solution? Because in Europe, you're seeing the opposite. You're seeing free speech destroy one's freedom. And we're seeing that abused in the UK. We're seeing
seven
more than Russia.
Seven AFD politicians died before the election.
In Germany.
So people are dying everywhere for having the wrong point of view now. Because we're the Nazis. We're evil somehow. We've been demonized to the point where we deserve death. And because we're the rational ones, because we're the smart ones, we don't wish death upon our enemies. We wish enlightenment upon our enemies. I don't want liberals to die. I want them to wake up and live happy lives and contribute to society. But they want me dead. I want them to do better for themselves and for everyone else. They want me dead. And unfortunately, if you study history, the more extreme, the more radical, the more ruthless, the more likely you are to be successful. And this is a very sobering reminder that sometimes the good guy doesn't win. Sometimes the most vicious, evil, backstabbing, conniving cheater wins. And as we remain rational, as we respect the Constitution, as we turn the other cheek, as we live and let live, as we say, well, these stupid animals with their soulless TikToks deserve the right to say it. As we do all of these things, we are signing our death warrant.
What happens to free speech now if the people that are speaking are just worried to speak out? You got Ben Shapiro canceled his appearances. I was with Cenk yesterday, one of his hosts canceled their appearance. You've got all these different people increasing their security. Probably more will continue canceling appearances. What happens to speech if everyone's too scared to say the wrong thing and end up like Charlie Kirk?
Couple that with AI and you can't even tell who's real and who's not online anymore. So it's not even like you can turn to the internet because half of it's fake. We are descending into a nightmare, a technocratic, communistic nightmare. And we're not far away. And for once, I do not have all the answers. I don't know. And you know, it's interesting. It's very interesting because the human psyche is very prepared to give up its freedom for safety. COVID was a perfect example of that. You're in the Middle East right now. I'm a huge fan of the Middle East. It's amazing how instantly when you have a family and children, you're prepared to give up your ability to speak freely if they guarantee you safety. And there are some countries that do that. There are countries which will guarantee you physical safety if you don't say the wrong thing. And they're going to become more and more attractive to Westerners who realize that saying the things that need to be said to save the country, the people you're saving don't even respect it. The people you're trying to save want you dead. Do you understand that when I make policies for Bruv, talking about how to save the United Kingdom, British people tell me I deserve to die for saying that I want to improve their economy. Elon tried to save the world and they want him dead. Imagine how Elon feels. Imagine being Elon and risking your entire fortune and all your life to buy Twitter to allow people to speak freely, and then they just insult him all day. Do you have any idea how much faith he's lost in humanity? Do you blame him? Some people are just so soulless and so lost. Some people are so hopelessly dependent on the system, they will fight to defend it. They are agents of the matrix. And you know, I want to talk from a personal perspective here. What Elon did was so amazing when he opened up X, because he's a very rich man who didn't have to do it. I'm nowhere near as rich as Elon. But I tell you, for a council estate kickboxer from the poorest town in England, I've done all right. I have hundreds of millions. And then I tried my very best to wake people up and tell people the truth and tell everyone at home how this world really works and how they have to resist enslavement. And sometimes you see the amount of backlash you get and the amount of hate you get from the people you're trying to help. And you understand why the elites just take their money and run. You understand why they just take their money, go to somewhere quiet and private, and leave the serfs in their slavery to just suffer. Because the serfs rejoice when bad things happen to you. Because they're too afraid to get into the arena. A coward will always laugh at a gladiator who loses, because the coward feels an innate shame for his lack of bravery. He hates himself because he doesn't have the bravery to do the right thing. So when he sees a brave man fall, he loves to laugh. Charlie was trying to help the exact same people who are laughing at his death. Do you have any idea how much damage this does to people's faith in humanity? Do the youth of America even deserve to be saved? Or do they deserve the Democrats? Do they deserve communism? Do they deserve crime? At this point, do they deserve what they're begging for? How many of us should die trying to save these people? Elon lost so much trying to save them. Who says thank you? I've tweeted thank you at Elon randomly 15 or 20 times, and everyone makes fun of me for it. Oh, you're glazing Elon. Thank you for giving us Twitter back, sir. Thank you. I don't have to agree with everything you do. I don't have to agree with everything you say. I don't have to like you. I don't have to know you. Thank you for giving me Twitter. Is that really an alien concept? Basic fucking respect? Is that the place we are on the planet now? The world is broken. Society at its fundamental level has broken down. At no point in history, I would argue, despite all the massive, crazy, horrible wars we had, did people disagree over something as fundamental as family. People would agree that a man should meet a woman and have a family. Surely the Germans and the British and the Americans and the Soviets and the Chinese and the Japanese all agreed on that. We don't even agree on that anymore. What's uniting America? Because I don't want to talk for too long, and I can talk about this for days. But the whole purpose and the whole merit behind multiculturalism is that everybody behaves and obeys the law and they can get rich and have a better life. But that's no longer the case. So it's descending into chaos. The reason the Middle East functions, the reason everyone behaves in Dubai is because they get rich there. But America can no longer provide the American dream. And there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. But now new battle lines are going to be drawn. And these battle lines, whether they're race, left, right, Republican, Democrat, tall, short, it doesn't matter. People are going to start dying. And I'm asking, how do we unify the population behind something? What do we have that unifies? We don't even have the flag. There's Americans who hate the flag. The British hate their own flag. They hate their own version of history. We don't speak the same language. We don't have the same religion. We don't even believe a man can't have children. What do we agree on? Do people have two arms? I'm sure I could find someone to disagree with me on that who believes I deserve a bullet in the neck.
What do you think about Trump's policy when it comes to crime and sending the troops on the streets? Do you think that he'll double down on that policy? Do you think it's the right thing to do?
Do I think there should be law and order in the cities of the richest country in the world?
With National Guard?
Do I think there should be law and order in the cities of the richest country in the world? I think it's a miracle that America has stayed as prosperous as it is when it's basically a permanent, never-ending war zone. You know, when I first got free from my Matrix attack and I flew to America, I expected a hero's welcome. Instead, the DA and Ron DeSantis attacked me. And part of me, I